B, which is here. Then you're going to bend up a half step and another half step. Right? So it sounds like, right? 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 It's nice, right? Okay, now let's talk about vibrato a little bit. There's all sorts of different rates of vibrato. Not that many people think much about vibrato, but I really dug in pretty hard. For instance, B.B. King's vibrato, it's very fast and not super wide. You get sort of this kind of sound like right? Right? So that's a fan technique. I'm just doing that. I'm not really, and I'm gripping a little bit with the thumb, but not much. You can do it on the B string. Right? Then you have like Jimi Hendrix style vibrato, which is a little bit slower rate and wider in pitch. Like, right. Right? You have Albert Collins, which is a little bit, that's kind of like the handshake vibrato. You got this up and down movement. Once my thumb is just, it's not making contact with the board at all. It's just. You got like Paul Kossoff and Angus Young, which I love that kind of vibrato. It's very fast. Slow and mellow. I think it's important that you guys really practice all the different rates and widths of vibrato. And with that, I have an exercise, of course. So here we go. It's set your metronome to 70. Let's just do it in B minor on the G string. Right? So let's start with playing quarter notes along with this metronome. 3, 4. Notice my pitch is just going right to that F sharp, right? Right? That's pretty easy. Now we're going to do eighth notes. 3, 4. Now eighth note triplet. 3, 4. Use those open G's and D's. Right? You hear it all the time in E blues. Right? So that's just as easy as bending a G up to an A, then sliding to the A. So, slowly, right? So, right? Or, so that's bending G to A. Or maybe pulling off to it. Or really, really good when I'm going to the fourth. Right? So C to D, bend. An exercise you can do is, to practice this kind of thing, is sort of sliding diatonically to notes. Like, right? It's kind of a fun little thing. I'm just kind of going up A minor or something. So whether you start on, or A, so maybe you start on an A. So you're going to play the note, then the diatonic note below it, which is a whole step below, in this case G, then you're going to slide up to A again. So then B, a half step slide, whole step. If it's Dorian, right? You can do the same thing going down, for instance. Right? So if I'm not swinging, I'm playing like this. Right? Just playing, well, I mean, that's swinging. I guess it's just square swinging, right? I'm not really laying back or doing anything greasy at all. So it's ba ba da ba da ba da ba da ba. Okay. Now, if I want to make it interesting, I could straighten out the swing a little bit, or I could lay back the swing. So check it out. Right? So I'm basically pulling back a lot of the downbeats. Right? Right? So say you have a line, maybe you can exercise this. So maybe, right, maybe that little line, G, F sharp, A, D, C sharp, and A, right? Right, pretty square, right? Now let's start by laying back the last note on the downbeat. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now you've got a pentatonic in G, right? You can play groupings of fours, maybe like. That's boring though, right? I would suggest groupings of threes, so it kind of goes against the 4/4 nature, like. Exactly like that. And so it creates a little rhythmic pushing and pulling. Another thing you can do, which if you're playing in triplets, right? Now instead of playing groupings of sixes in triplets, which is the nature of a triplet is threes and groupings of sixes and threes, instead of doing this, right? That's boring, right? So instead of that, you could play groupings of fours. Now we're going to get into some sort of fancy, not sweep picking, but some nice phrasing that you can do, like this kind of thing, like. Right? So let me show you how to do this thing. It's downstroke on C, sweep from A to the adjacent string G, pull off to E. You don't want it to be, it's not a chord, so you got to do a little fancy picking, so it's just a sweep. Right? You want them to sound like single notes. So, right? and then you're going to go A. So say you want to bend to that B note, right? You got to reference that note, know what note you're going to bend to, and get there, right? Right? And you can really hear the difference between experienced players and inexperienced players. You know, they often don't reach the note. No, it's not quite right. Or overshot. Nope, right? It's got to be that harmonic. Right? I'm not giving you any vibrato yet because that's another thing. So the same thing goes with any, right? Right? You really got to nail that. And from any string on the guitar, right? 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 Or so yeah, any string you want to be able to you want to be able to bend the correct pitch to. It just makes a world of difference when you're in tune. So a way to exercise this is by playing a diatonic scale again. So let's try let's do A Dorian. So you're gonna basically, you can do it on the high 3 strings for now. So maybe we're gonna bend from, so say the scale is, right? Right, I'm just starting on the, right? So you're gonna bend from B to C, half step, C to D, then D to E, then E to F sharp, right? So the exercise is to right? So that's kind of reverse bend.